America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was excuse me.
Now, it may get bigger, it may get a little bigger, it may not get bigger at all. We'll see what happens. But regardless of what happens, we're totally prepared.
This is your victory. Now, I know you didn't do this just to win an election. I know you didn't do it for me. You did it because you understand the enormity of the task that lies ahead.
You're not going to believe this. He killed 16 Czechoslovakians. Guy was an interior decorator. His house looked like shit.
What? Give me a hell yeah. I said give me a hell yeah.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to see it threw me off the new intro. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Monday Morning Middle of the Road. I'm Coach Casey, and joining me as always and every week in studio, my co-host, co-pilot, and friend.
There we go.
TJ, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man. What's up?
Happy 9/13.
9/13.
It's been a busy day. I was going to call today, be funny, and call it Tuesday morning papers.
Ooh.
See if that threw anybody off. We're a day late, $1 short, technically 2 days late.
Technically.
I don't know if anybody noticed. I don't know if they care. They're going to get some content.
We had several emails on
I was going to say.
wondering where we were at.
We did. We had, some loyal listeners we've gained early on already have, reached out. Hey, are you guys already done? Did you break up already? I heard last show and there seemed to be a lot of tension growing.
A lot of sexual tension.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
thought. I was like, because once you start dating, it gets hard.
Yep, it gets hard.
We're not dating. We're back. There's been a lot going on. This weekend was busy for both of us. TJ was busy. I was busy, so we didn't get together on Friday, which we should have done.
We did get together Friday.
We did get together. We went and did a baseball game. The local minor league team, the Wingnuts, got some box
Wind Surge.
Sorry, I did that game too. They're the Wind Surge now. They were the Wingnuts. We got some, I don't know, box seats, but some upper level nice seats. You got some steak and food. I got a bunch of booze and pretzels and desserts. So it was a good time.
I did get an email from the Wind Surge about what could we do different, and I said, get rid of number 20. He fucking sucks.
He did make two errors late in the game that made it from like a 10-1 game to make it have to be a 12-6 close game.
You're supposed to tag somebody out running in front of you. You don't do it the next pitch grand slam.
Yeah, and then I was going to say he missed it, and then he also made an error later that went right off of him, and so we did. That was the only thing bad that happened. Other than that, a lot of booze, good time. Had a blast.
It was fun.
Good time. Locally this week, the only story near and dear to my heart, and I was going to have to lead off with it.
Super near and dear.
And not even really because I don't even hardly use this stuff anymore, but Wichita and Sedgwick County voted to decriminalize marijuana possession, and they...
So what does that mean?
Basically, if you get stopped with it, instead of going to jail with it, you'll get a ticket.
Like a ticket? What about everybody who's already in jail for it?
So that's kind of what the story led off with is the Wichita City Council repealed the city's marijuana laws Tuesday, potentially halting hundreds of prosecutions, not prostitutions, annually for minor marijuana possessions in the largest city in Kansas.
This is just a city or a Sedgwick County thing?
It's city, technically. I think it's going to be...
So if you get busted out here, what's going to happen?
I'm city technically here.
This is technically Wichita?
Yeah, I know, that's weird. They annexed it.
Okay.
So that makes me safe, I guess.
And
it's going to be certain amounts. I think if you're selling, if you have intent to sell, all of those things still hold. But if you're just a true user for recreation, and I think I've talked to many cops over the years, and you'll hear it from many cops, that's not really what they want to
bust people on?
Want to bust you for. That's not really what the court system wants to prosecute. They want to prosecute the major crimes, the people that are harming people, that are moving pounds and pounds and hundreds of pounds. They're still going after those people, but people that are just trying to use it to not use alcohol or to unwind or to deal with pain or injury or whatever their reason, they're less criminals starting, which I don't even remember how long ago it was. I think it was 2018 or even maybe 17. Wichita, we voted already to decriminalize it. It went through, and then the attorney general or whatever state's attorney general at the time voted to
It was saying it right back there. Go
what's
back.
that?
Second paragraph. Attorney General Derek Schmidt, Republican candidate for governor, got the incentive struck down by Kansas Supreme Court on a technicality.
Yeah.
Schmidt's office campaign I'm trying to read around the
Sorry.
camera. Did not respond to questions about whether he would challenge the
Yeah.
city's decriminalization.
That was one
vote.
of the, I think, the ads that was going to run against him because
Yeah.
him and even the Kolbach, who's running right now for attorney general now,
Yeah.
he's hardcore against it. So that's a vote. I don't know why hardcore against it, because there's so many more things to prosecute, and it's proven that you don't make a lot of money prosecuting and chasing marijuana crimes. So,
I don't get it.
so, but it's, and we'll see if this one will probably get repealed too. The bigger part to me, and what a bunch of people at work what their comment about the fentanyl strip passage was, why that means if you have those on you, it means you have hardcore drugs on you. And that I kind of agree with, but hardcore drugs are going to be here kind of no matter what. And what this does is this fentanyl is truly like overriding, emergency rooms and
Yeah.
like the system. And if this makes it to where your meth or your heroin or whatever is just normal meth and normal heroin, not fentanyl laced, and it keeps you from ODing or at least know what the hell you're putting in your body, then I'm all for it. Whether it's good, bad, or other, I don't know the answer to that. So. What do you got? You got anything?
Yeah. Well, so Sunday when we should have done the show was 9/11.
It was, and that's why we didn't do it.
It's old enough to drink now.
21 this year.
Yep. And every year, no matter what, this is probably the first year in a long, long time that I haven't sat in front of the History Channel almost all day just watching, just getting fucking fired up.
Because it was, this is the first year in 6 years that it would have been on, because
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah, and then opening
week
day. Yeah,
and-
opening week, yeah. So
the first year it happened, they canceled the games,
Yeah.
that opening weekend or whatever.
Yeah, you just think back to that, and you not even the 9/11 stuff, but then you just think about how united everybody was, like GW coming out fucking throwing that pitch at the Yankees game.
Well, that's what I
and,
said, even
all that stuff.
Red, white, blue, whatever
Didn't
colors
matter.
we
We were
were, then
America.
it didn't
We were all
matter.
of it.
You were. You
Yep.
truly were. And I think, I don't want to say we need an event
No,
like
but
that.
I just wish we could come together.
Yeah, I mean, I think people had their differences of opinion definitely then still.
Well, and I can tell you what, since, what is this, 6 weeks, America's gotten closer together because of this show. We get people writing to our emails all the time like, hey, you guys got me to the middle.
Or I talked to a buddy recently that maybe I listened to your show, and that was one comment I got even from a guy at work was, and they hear it from me all the time, but I'm the ultimate liberal, but they hear us going back and forth.
Yeah.
And I'm not really the ultra liberal, but for our sake I am. But they hear us going back and forth, and that was a comment I got was, hey man, I kind of reached out to somebody I hadn't talked to in a while and just kind of, that we set a boundary of, if anything we're talking about or we're getting aggressive one way or the other, either kind of stop it or find something that we can
Something else to talk
even
about.
that we can both agree on to talk about.
Yeah.
Even with us, sometimes it's not about coming to the middle of whether we agree to like or dislike Trump. It's about, hey, let's switch on to something that we do agree on, that keeps us as
We don't
friends.
have to agree on everything.
Don't
Nobody
focus on
does.
the thing that you hate about somebody or about what they like or dislike. Focus on the good. So the only other thing I have in political news, Joe vowed to end cancer, and he's
good.
And that's one thing, everybody gives him shit, but it's nice to finally have a president that addresses things like cancer. No other president, I don't even know if other presidents knew before Joe. You can
That
say
there
he's
was
old.
cancer?
Yeah, they didn't even know.
Oh.
He comes out and he's not. The story is more not that he vows to end it, but I think he thinks eventually we can, but that
Eventually that we're going to release a cure that we probably had for 50 years.
Well, I think we'll get to the point where it's more like treating, and I don't know if it was a good example in one of the press conferences, but like treating COVID, how it can be treated quicker if you catch it sooner. Screening will come along. That's a lot better to catch it sooner, and a couple good strong pills will break it up. So, but it was like again, nice to see a president finally addressing cancer.
It's good. I just hope when I get it that he's got the cure out for
Well, he
us.
won't. Well, I don't know if he will, but he's finally putting the people on it. No other president has. No.
I do have a story for us that I didn't really tell you about earlier.
What do you got there?
This is a wild story of a mother giving birth to two twins with different biological fathers having sex with two men on the same day. New York Post. A 19-year-old Brazilian woman gave birth to two twins 9 months after having sex with two men on the same day. So, I mean, this girl is just a regular nice girl. I mean, this happens all the time.
She seems like a,
like
you know,
like
I
a
mean, but
girl
that
you
could-
want to bring home to mom and
well,
dad,
that
right?
could happen to, like, say, okay, put it this way. Say you're in this doesn't sound like her story, but you're in a 12-year romance, love of your life.
Yeah.
You guys have sex on the last day, decide mutually, this
To break
isn't
up.
working for me. You meet a new guy.
Same day.
Things go so good on your lunch date. This was a morning thing. You guys had sex, broke up, lunch
Break
date.
up sex.
Lunch date, okay? And then
I
you
get what you're saying, but I think this girl's a whore. I'm pretty
Well,
sure.
she could just be, if it was a guy, you would say this guy's kick ass. This guy's
Yeah.
a pimp.
Well, I mean, it's the world we live in. I'm just saying she's
Well, hopefully that'll get posed on our. We did have some questions.
We
Later
do,
from women.
and-
hopefully that may be the one that's posed. Why is there a substandard on women and sleeping with men
Yeah.
and men sleeping with women?
Well, let me finish reading this to you. As their first birthdays loomed, so here we are a year later, she began having doubts over who their father was. So she decided to go on Maury. She didn't. But she decided to take a paternity test to confirm her suspicions. The anonymous woman originally suspected only one of these two men to be the father of the twins. So she collected his DNA. But it only turned up positive for one child. I remembered that I... Jesus. I remembered that...
I did have sex with two guys.
Yeah, that's
in one
exactly
day.
what it is.
That's true.
I remembered that I had sex with
Was this
another
like-
man,
this
and I
could've been
called
a
him...
Coachella thing, or like
Oh, yeah, I did fuck two guys that day. God,
sexual relations
Yeah.
with that woman,
Mhm.
those guys.
I remembered that I had had sex with another man, and I called him to take the test, which was positive. The new mom, who was asked not to be identified, told the outlet, I was surprised by the results. I didn't know this could happen. They are very similar.
I've heard of things like this before. I don't know about this.
We got
might
an
have even-
explanation here.
Okay, what do we got?
It is possible to happen when two eggs from the same mother are fertilized by different men. Dr.
Sanjay Gupta.
Dr. Franco, the woman's attending physician, told local news outlet, the babies share the mother's genetic material, but they grow in different placentas. Heteropaternal superfundication is an extremely rare phenomenon that occurs when a second ovia released during the same menstrual cycle is additionally fertilized by the sperm cells of a different man in sexual intercourses, according to the journal. So what it says right here is, as long as you don't have sex with two different guys on the same day, you should be fine. Yep. So, just
A rarity. We'll stick to your one sexual partner a day. Like, I mean, I've always said that it's okay to have multiple sexual partners, but only one a
yeah.
day.
So I mean, all you
It's like
ladies
a
out there,
vitamin. Stick,
one at a time,
your men should be like your vitamin, one a day.
one a day.
I don't care if it's multiple. It can be a multivitamin, but
Yeah.
it should be one a day. The only other political story I had was famed prosecutor, and I don't know what else he's famous for, really, but the independent counsel in the Bill Clinton impeachment, Ken Starr, has passed away. He had some other accomplishments. He was former U.S. Solicitor General.
76.
A lot of things. He did a lot of things, but the only thing I think anybody my age and 5 years up or 5 year below knows his name was in the maybe not of you because I said his name and you didn't know it, but
No, I don't remember. Any
his
of
name
that
was
stuff.
in the news every single day during the Monica Lewinsky stuff. He was the what's the guy that was the head of the Trump investigation.
Yeah, what was that? I
The
can't
old-
even remember that guy's name
Well,
anymore.
I guess it didn't work with him, but he was the Comey or whatever
Yeah.
of that time. He was in
Yeah.
the news every day, so you knew who he was in late 90s, early 2000s or whatever, when 96, 98, when that all happened. And the only reason that came up to me is because I read a Monica Lewinsky had a take on it, and she
Poor her.
Monica Lewinsky says that painful death for those who loved him, and
Yeah.
that's kind of in parentheses because she obviously didn't. She made his life hell. She brought him, or he brought her to the forefront.
Yeah,
of
he brought her way up there.
to the tongue of, or the tip of everybody's tongue. So that was it on that.
I got some wrestling drama.
Now, is this the AEW stuff?
Yeah, this is
going on?
AEW. That stuff's going on. I mean, WWE, there's not a lot of excitement going on, but I want to talk about CM Punk.
Well, you hate him. I love him now. I used to hate him. You used to love him.
Let me explain. He was my favorite wrestler until, and I think I've said this
We're
on the show.
switching to our sports segment if you don't know.
If you haven't noticed, he was my favorite wrestler until he quit, which everybody's entitled to quit. I mean, people quit their
something different.
people quit their jobs all the time. But what he did was he talked shit on how fake wrestling was and all the bullshit.
I think, I don't know if a lot of them do that, but I think
He did.
they lashed
That's what
back
made-
at the sport that he thought was lashing back at him
Yeah.
at the time.
So AEW had a all-out pay-per-view, and he won back his AEW world title from Jon Moxley.
And you sent me, and I don't watch as often. I watch more AEW anymore than I do probably WWE, honestly. But I didn't watch any of this. But you sent me the...
You got to see him talking, though, right?
Yeah.
With Tony Khan.
Yeah, and maybe I
That
sent that to
microphone
you. I
was-
don't even remember
I sent it to
how
you,
it
but
was. But
that microphone was weird because his voice was super deep, and
I
that's
couldn't
not
tell.
how he
But
talks.
in that, he looked bruised up in there.
He was beat up, yeah.
you
Well,
couldn't-
but who knows what he did? But
Well, no, the story, apparently they got in a backstage fight.
no, that was after he was running his mouth.
See, I thought it happened before.
No.
That's why he kept running it.
No, he was just running his mouth because he thinks he's a real life tough guy because he fought in UFC a couple times. He doesn't realize he's still a pussy. But he's so disrespectful to Tony Khan. He's sitting there talking to him and talking over him and stuff. So the backstory on it is
the only thing I read out of the story is his manager and trainer bit another
yeah,
wrestler.
so there was two stories. There was their side and the other guy's side from the thing. But the whole thing is somebody asked Tony Khan a question about Colt Cabana, who was CM Punk's former best friend. His real name's Scott Colton. And they had this big falling out and lawsuit against each other, and CM Punk was just ripping ass on it and
Yeah.
just telling the whole story about it. I don't know. I mean, Jesus Christ, the guy is bitter, man. You would not want him to be your ex-wife because he would just be
it was a
on
weird
and on.
thing. I've never seen the WWE doesn't do anything like that, do they?
They did actually after this Clash at the Castle thing, and Roman walked out, and he was like, "Acknowledge me." And then the guy said, "You're acknowledged," and then he walked out.
So, here's I guess what I'll say about WWE compared to AEW. My observation on the outside, the AEW guys are kind of told and whatever to be them real selves a little
Yeah,
more.
they're kind of they
They don't have
definitely
to stay
don't.
necessarily in character completely. They talk about
Yeah,
real shit,
real life.
as to where it's complete opposite. You hear, and I don't know about nowadays, but Vince McMahon used to pull guys in, especially like the Stone Colds when you're in public, when you're at a club, I want you to be stone cold. And that's why some of these guys, Macho Man, he was the prime example. He couldn't let that shit go because that was created by Vince McMahon. And I mean, his dad too and whatever. But he was told to take that character, take that with you everywhere,
Yeah, brother. Well, so anyways, that's what happened, and then he talked shit on the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page. So after all that shit talking, and not Hangman, but the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega are executive vice president producers of the show, and he's talking shit on them. And then he's like, and he even said, "Come find me after the show if after this if you want some shit." Well, they came and found him, and Punk had himself locked in his locker room. They kicked down the door, and so now all this stuff I'm hearing about Punk is, it's that he's gonna sue and shit like that because he's a fucking pussy.
Well, that's what well, that's not.
Yeah. Well, anyways,
But I was trying to read something on it, and that I just basically that he may not return, and
well, so he had just won the AEW title. This is 2 times now that he's won the title and got stripped of it immediately after.
did they strip it?
The first time he won it, he jumped in the crowd and broke his foot the next day. This time they took it from him, and they have this trios title, which is like a 3-man title. So
From
the
the
Young
other
Bucks
guys.
and Omega had it, and they just won it, and they took it from them too. So those guys are in trouble, and he's in trouble. But I'm guessing they're probably gonna get rid of. Well, I don't know if he's threatening to do all this suing. I don't know.
I doubt they get rid of him. I mean, it maybe I don't know.
They probably just won't
He's
use
still
him.
a huge sell. That
Yeah.
was one thing I'll say is when he came back, I like him, don't like him. It was huge.
I watched,
It was
yeah.
talked about. It was huge.
Yeah,
it
it's huge. He's a big.
huge event. And then them teaming him up with Sting, his first
Yeah.
official match back or whatever. That was more of it. So
That's all I got on wrestling. The big thing, other big thing is NFL back, but college football, and we had a bunch of upsets in the top 25.
well, we did, and then that's kind of how I broke it down. Was Michigan? Well, every week I'm a Michigan fan. He's a KU fan. So that's the focus of the news you'll get, or at least you'll get a. So in the opening weeks, it's going to be good because we're playing cream cakes, and we both think our teams right now are undefeated. He are undefeatable. He thinks
I don't think we're undefeatable, but I think we're the
thinks
best KU team in a long
he
time.
thinks they're on the way to KU national championship.
Yeah, we're gonna win basketball and football this year.
And
Write it, check it.
I don't think that, but I think
I bet we make it to top 25.
this week the future of Michigan football made his official debut. He keeps getting one carry, 2 little carries, but he got a full quarter and a half of action to see what J.J. McCarthy
And he is official starter now, right?
Yeah, they named it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's the era has begun. I feel bad for a 2-year starter behind him, Cade, but he doesn't make things happen. He doesn't make bad things happen. But it's the difference in having, and I won't even use one of my guys, but Trent Dilfer and Steve Young on your bench,
Yeah.
or Michael Vick, and you're going to go using electric, somebody that puts up a bunch of points and. You may have some turnover, you may have some problems, but he's going to put you in every single game. So
I just won $100 thanks to them not covering the spread. So
yeah, he keeps betting. Last week he bet against Michigan, but only because it was a big spread. They
it was
covered
50.
that one.
Yeah, the week before I lost on it, and then this time it was,
It was a 52 point
points.
spread.
So I was
They
like,
won by
that's a lot. So
41 or something.
yeah, and then I bet KU got. Here's something that probably is rare. I'm sure it's happened because it's been a long time. KU was a 13-point underdog going into this game, so I took them because I knew they were going to win anyways.
Yeah.
We don't need fuck them. We don't even need those points. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
And West Virginia's weak. They don't have Will
they're
Greer
top
anymore.
team. They're top
They don't
team.
have Will Greer anymore.
They got what's his JD Daniels,
I know,
who
but
was
I'm
like
just saying that because Will Greer might end up being the Cowboys starter here for a couple
really?
weeks. That's the only reason I say that.
Okay. Well, so
We'll get there.
it went to overtime.
It was a crazy game.
It was a great game.
So we were doing I don't even remember what I was doing because it was a later game. It started late afternoon and then it went to so we were doing that Zubilee thing or whatever.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was in the preparation for that game was still finishing up.
Yeah, it was a long game. So it went to overtime. KU got the ball first. They scored. West Virginia got the ball next. KU's Kobe Bryant, but it's not spelled the same. It's COBE.
And what's crazy, there's an NFL guy that's a DB that's a starter named Kobe Bryant.
Oh,
too.
really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, Kobe Bryant got a pick six and ran it back, so KU ended up winning by 13 points. That's got to be pretty rare. I mean, I'm sure it's happened, but
What, that they won by 13?
yeah, that you went into overtime and won by 13.
Yeah, that is pretty unique.
I mean, I'm sure. I'm not saying it's never happened. I'm
But yeah,
sure
that's
got
to be up there.
Could you imagine if you were like, if you had bet on that game and you're like, shit, the spread's 13 or whatever, whichever way, and you're like, I'm good, and then they end up scoring and running back.
The best game of the week was probably the Texas-Alabama game. Texas came in unranked, playing number 1 Alabama, which has switched the rankings because since Alabama dropped to 2 and Texas moved up to 21, losing that game.
So is Georgia number 1?
Yes. But it was a game. I thought Texas had it, and they lose their starter into the second quarter.
Has anybody said,
What?
like, is he out?
Well, that didn't, who?
How long is he going to be out for?
I didn't see that. I didn't see. But they lost.
You know who he is, right? He's that kid from high school that left in Texas early to go to Ohio State, and then
Left there.
he left there.
Yeah. Yeah, he's he's mullet. I can't think of his name right now. I watched a whole thing on the hype, like a hype tape on him or whatever, but he went out second quarter.
How is Oregon 25?
Never going to let him go.
Sorry,
They're
ass.
never going to let him go.
That must be. They must have some deal with Nike. Texas A&M should not be ranked. Embarrassing. Let's get into this about these loser teams. That we'll start with because this I don't have it in top order.
My top story, other than that, real quick, is just in an upset. We'll get to is Nebraska losing and getting Frost fired. I'd say
he got
finally
himself fired because he had that shit coming for a long time.
They wanted to fire him in the offseason and didn't. What's your biggest upset?
Number 6, Texas A&M loses. Number 8, Notre Dame loses. You know, and these are teams they brought in. They paid monies. They lost to Marshall.
Yeah, and I thought that they didn't look good in the opener, but I thought, man, that they're still that team. You know, that was
they haven't even since they've got their new head coach. He hasn't even won a game.
That's what I said. They've scored a total of like 17 points or something.
Their quarterback's god awful.
It was bad.
A&M lost. Wisconsin lost. Let's see here. Also, top 25 teams that lost, but lost to other top 25 teams. Baylor lost in overtime to BYU,
which was a good game at
least.
And
they were number 9. And let's see here. According to this, Baylor is 17 now. Kentucky beat Florida. Florida dropped from 12 to 18, and Kentucky moved up to number 9.
And what's funny is they're listing Stoops as a coaching candidate to replace for Nebraska. Why would you leave? Kentucky's going to throw all the money in the world. They've never been relevant in football, and they just keep being.
Yeah.
Why would you go to Nebraska?
They're talking about Lance Leopold too.
They named a bunch of coaches that
they're going to. That's what they're going to. They're going to name anybody who's hot right now.
Well, they're just going to name names, making it sound like somebody wants to go there. But why would you? If they announce tomorrow they're going to rejoin the Big 12, you might get some coaches that want to go.
Yeah. Oh, let's see here. Pitt also beat Tennessee, and Pitt
which was a badass game. And that Tennessee
17.
quarterback, I like that kid.
Yeah, he's just a freshman too. So Tennessee is 15. No, I'm sorry. Tennessee beat Pitt.
Yeah.
I said that wrong.
Yeah.
Tennessee's 15, and Pitt dropped to 23. They basically switched spots almost. Your new top 10, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, Clemson, Oklahoma, USC, Oklahoma State, Kentucky, and the Razorbacks.
That did not take – and the Razorbacks, that quarterback's a freak too.
Yeah, he's kind of a stud.
No, I mean, he's not. But
He's a big boy.
6'5", yeah.
And he's thick.
That did not take USC very long to go from 15 to 7.
Yeah,
18.
and
They started out
they haven't
18.
even played anybody.
No.
They beat Stanford,
which is a good team traditionally, but not a.
Yeah, so they got, let's see here, Fresno State, Oregon State, Arizona State, Washington State, Utah, and then Arizona. That's their next few games.
Probably best matchups, which I think this finally knocks Oregon out of the top.
Who are they playing?
They play BYU next week. Georgia, South Carolina, and always a scary one. Just if playing that SEC matchup, South Carolina hasn't looked great, but hasn't looked bad.
How many interceptions do you think ugly ass Rattler's gonna throw? Now, is he the ugliest dude in college football?
He might be. He might be the first person uglier than. Of course, I say Blake Griffin, but he's just goofy looking. He's not that ugly.
He's actually decently handsome.
Big game on the docket: L.A. Monroe versus Alabama. No.
Do we got any good top 25 matchups?
That's what I was
here?
looking. I don't see anything that's
right there. Miami and A&M.
There you go. Miami, A&M. That either A&M gets back on the wagon because they were supposed to be a championship team, best recruiting class, top recruiting class. Had the war going with Alabama about cheating or not cheating and all that.
Yeah, about them doing all the NIL stuff. Fresno State always plays USC really good.
Yeah,
so
and that'll be a kind of a test to see where USC's really at. Who does KU play? I don't see them on here.
KU plays.
They're only showing top 25 teams.
They are playing it. Well, I guess they bounced out, but they're playing Houston. I saw on a different thing Houston was ranked, so this is the.
I think they might have fell out just since or.
Oh, this was the AP. Let's see in the coaches.
Michigan plays Connecticut. Should be another walk, and then the games start getting fun. Finally, it's usually week 4 in college football. You get some good games early on, but everybody starts playing good games starting week 4 or 5. So.
Well,
you don't know who KU plays this week?
No, I just said they play Houston.
Oh, that's right. You were looking for Houston on the thing.
Yeah, I thought they were ranked, but
And I think we talked about this. If KU wins this week, and especially wins in any decent fashion, they should make the top 25.
So I was
I
looking
think they
at
got some votes.
at Houston. They their last 2 games, with their first game triple overtime. No, first game was double overtime. Last week against Texas Tech, triple overtime. They played 5 overtimes
Already this year.
Yeah, already.
So they've played. Yeah, technically, if that was the NFL and those were quarters, they've played a whole extra game and a quarter.
Yeah. So, but these are just downs,
Yeah.
or
4 downs, possessions.
Yeah. So I guess you start at college. You start at 25. So technically, you could go almost 6-12
Yeah.
each overtime.
Yeah.
But then they have a new rule: is the first one is a regular go for extra point. Second is go for 2. And then third overtime, they start at the 3, and they just trade back and forth touchdowns.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't like.
I think that's kind of cool.
kinda, but it's just
It'd been cool, like in old school days where it's smash mouth, but
Yeah,
they would
but
throw the ball just.
I still
ramming it.
think it's better. I like that. I think that just making them go for 2 is enough
It's
of an
hard,
element.
But I guess they're just trying to keep them
But
off
college
the field.
football's back. It's hot. Pro football. Cowboys suck.
They do.
I canceled this show Sunday and not even for that. Just it's opening weekend. I had a bunch of stuff going on, Mo and all that, but I wanted to sit and just really be a loser and watch football. All the other games, there was a ton of good games. Bunch of crappy rain games and stuff.
I didn't watch one.
Didn't watch any.
No.
I'm that guy that I turn on Red Zone. I might if a game's real interesting.
You don't have that NFL thing?
the Sunday Ticket. No.
No.
Red Zone.
No. What's that new thing?
I don't know.
I thought there was some new NFL like app thing that you could get, and you get every game like real life.
Oh no, I don't have that. I'll have.
How
to
do you
look.
not have that?
I don't know.
I figured you had that
Because the
thing
Red
already.
Zone's enough for me, and Cowboys are always on TV.
But this isn't a red zone thing. This is like every game.
But I don't care enough, and the Red Zone gives you what you want. And
I
then
guess
me,
you just
also-
want it for fantasy stuff. So.
Yeah, but also for that factor, off of my apps, I can most of them because what I have through there, besides maybe 1 or 2 games, I can just click on that and watch it live.
The Cowboys are on every week, right? I mean, they're
No
never
matter
not.
what.
Yeah.
Very rare. There's like 1 game last year that wasn't. 'Cause-
Really?
Yeah, because it got blacked out due to something. And then there's maybe 1 game every year, but very rarely.
So since I didn't watch it, did Dax play like shit
Yeah,
before he got hurt? So he
horrible.
wasn't doing any good before then.
No,
What about
and
what
it's-
about
Zeke looked good.
what about
Freaking-
the other guy? The guy like Pollard.
Yeah, they both look. The running game, I think they both like Zeke ended up averaging like 7 yards a carry. Pollard was like 5.5, a couple catches. They just didn't do it. We were 12-3, and they could have handed the ball, 30 times. We could have stayed in the game running it. We were running fine. They just kept having to do that. You're trying to force it to CeeDee Lamb, which
Is he number 1?
he is, but he's not. I mean, that's
Who
what
is? I mean, no, they don't have
Noah
one.
Brown ended up being our number 1. Have you ever heard of Noah Brown? No.
Mm-mm.
So what I'm saying is,
They got any white boys?
yeah, there's this dude out of Stanford, Simoko. He was kind of a stud there. But no, they have no receivers. We have Gallup hurt, our rookie. They didn't start for some reason. Something happened this week in practice. Who's supposed to be a pretty good kid. It was bad. It just didn't look good. The second or third play of the game, our starting left guard went out and was out for the game. We had a rookie starting at left tackle, his first ever NFL game. And he didn't even, up until the week Tyron Smith got hurt, hadn't even been training at it. We have an established center and right guard. And then
How'd Tom Brady look?
ish. I mean,
Normal?
he looked good. I mean, he has.
I
Three,
did
he looks
see him
like-
throw that interception.
He looks like he has 3 Pro Bowl wide receivers and 3 possible Hall of Fame receivers he's throwing the ball to.
That's because he does.
Okay, so that is hard to say. Our secondary is real young. He put up 19 points in a struggle with us not doing good.
I did see that sweet catch
Yeah.
that Evans had on
Yeah.
Diggs. It's about fitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a nice one. Everybody
Yeah.
gets a one hand on the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're good. They're a good team. That's why he came back. They're going to be. That's why everybody has them picked top 5 for the Super Bowl. But the Cowboys defense, legit. That rookie or second year kid Micah Parsons. I don't care whether I'm a Cowboys fan or not. Best defensive player in the
Stud.
NFL, especially since Watt's injured right now. Best defensive player in the NFL. He can play every position. Nobody can guard him. He can I mean, he's a freak.
They still got White Boy, 55.
They got Van Der Esch.
Yeah.
He's back. He's played good.
Yeah.
Their linebackers played good. They couldn't. Fournette really did actually run the ball pretty good, but I think it's because they were going 3 wide and freaking us out.
What was that deal I did hear
Chris
about?
Godwin got hurt in that game.
Fournette cracked on Parsons,
Just
and they're
a
making
cheap ass block, and there was just all kinds of defensive.
Was it a
ends.
crack or was it like a chop block?
It was going at his knees, helmet to knee stuff.
It wasn't a crack block.
No, but it was. He went off and then came back at him and went low as
You
Parsons
can't even
was
do that in
going
college
by.
football now.
No,
at all.
you can't technically in the NFL the way he did it. It was just.
I mean, you can't even.
Yeah, I
You
know.
can't block towards your own end zone.
Well, and even in the NFL, if there's any other player around, you can't engage below the waist.
yeah, I do know that. Yeah.
But no, I think it's the kind of same thing. It was an unnecessary play. It probably didn't prevent him from getting to the quarterback in that situation.
Yeah.
But I mean, Fournette's a fucking thug. I mean, plain and simple. The dude got kicked out of his last college game for swinging in the fucking college
Yeah,
game
but
in
he's
a bowl
fucking
game.
Louisiana trash.
Straight up thug. That's what I'm saying. So no,
We don't mean that. Don't kick our asses, Leonard Fournette.
Yeah,
I'll give you Casey's address if you want to beat him. But
yeah, don't knock me out like Le'Veon Bell did freaking Adrian
yeah.
Peterson.
So yeah, we definitely need to talk about that with that and Diaz.
Yeah, we're going to go to the UFC now. Real quick, I guess that's all there is to talk about. That fight, I rewatched it. Adrian Peterson can swing a little bit. Le'Veon Bell looks like he's been in fights. I mean, Adrian Peterson looked like he beat his kid's ass, and Le'Veon looks like he really could. I mean, and
Is Adrian Peterson even our age? I mean, is he even that old?
he's 37, 38.
Let's see.
But, and the one he did get knocked, it was just one of those punch. If you don't train to get hit, it is so hard. So I don't know what their training was like, but he just got caught with one, too. But it was that curled him
He's
up.
only 37.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
And how old? Bell's 33, 34.
Yeah, but it just seems like he's just old.
But in NFL standards,
He is
to
old,
just
yeah.
retire, that is old.
Yep.
So at UFC, here's where we'll go. We'll get to the Diaz one. I watched a couple.
Is this the one you're talking about with
Yes.
Isaac?
Yes. So I watched a couple of the undercards. It was actually a really good event, but then I went and did some stuff Saturday, came back. My son sent me a stream I could watch
Yeah.
it on. We paid for the stream together.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
And the Daniel Rodriguez D-Rod versus Lee is what we'll call him, Jingling Lee. 3-round.
You know who he looks like a little bit?
Who?
He looks like a Mexican Uriah Faber.
A little bit. I can
little
see
bit,
that.
yeah.
And they call this guy, and that's what this card was kind of set up for. So if you're not familiar with UFC 259, it was originally 79. Sorry, it was originally Lee versus Holland, Rodriguez versus what's his name?
I don't know how to say it. You talking about who Nate was going to fight?
Yeah, Nate was going to fight the Chimez or what?
Yeah.
The Russian dude.
Yeah.
And then Ferguson was supposed to fight the fake Diaz, Rodriguez.
Oh, yeah.
So the press conference, they all got in a big fight.
He's
We'll call
0-5 in his last 5 fights.
Who?
Tony Ferguson. He hasn't won in 5 fights.
We'll call him Hazmat, is what they call him for short. The
Diaz?
Russian dude.
Oh.
Hazmat. It's Kazmat.
Oh, yeah.
So if you look at it, it's Hamzat. Hazmat.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
they call him Hazmat. So we'll get to that one. But in the 3-round fight, Rodriguez, he came in. He was supposed to fight at a catchweight at 180. So he prepared to fight at 180.
This dude here?
Yes. Lee was supposed to
God,
fight.
he don't look that big.
He was. If you watch the fight, he looks like he was 300 pounds compared to the other guy.
Yeah.
So Lee prepared to fight at 170, and he's a guy that you watch him. He's a Chinese fighter.
Yeah.
I never would ever root for a Chinese fighter. He might be my new favorite UFC fighter. One, if you go follow him now on anything, he's fucking awesome. He's gracious.
Yeah.
And he's a good dude. And even after his fight, he didn't like it. And even like after the fight was over, Rodriguez went and hugged him and like congratulated him on a win. So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
how then it goes to the decision. And it shouldn't have went. I mean, it did. He was way bigger. But to me, outstruck him. He couldn't take him down. I mean, to me, he dominated the fight. They go to decision, split decision, and it goes for Rodriguez. Even when they announce it for him, he's getting ready to go over and congratulate. He's like, I mean, he was
Whoa,
surprised
yeah.
by it. And
Yeah.
then right then, that's the only.
So he didn't make weight either?
No, he wasn't supposed to. He was fighting at.
Oh.
He was fighting, Tony at catchweight. at 180.
Oh, okay.
So there was two fights, or one fight that was going to happen at catchweight, one at 170 and one at 185. So because Hazmat didn't make his weight, they moved him to fight Holland,
yeah.
who was supposed to fight at 185. Or at no, he was fighting anyways, he was supposed to fight at the catchweight because he normally fights at 172.
Yeah.
And so on short notice, they fight. So we go to that fight. 12 seconds, or it lasted, I think, like 38 seconds.
He didn't even get a swing on him.
He didn't get hit once.
Yeah.
But it goes to, first of all, the whole press conference happened because of them two. Here's how the story goes is Holland walked up to him and asked, he's a professional barber and like cuts people's hair, and said, hey, do you want me to trim up your beard? Well, his beard's sacred to him. So it started like a fucking freak fest. Well, that Hazmat brought like 50 fucking people. Well, he brought like 28. Diaz had like 50 people show up with his camp, and then Holland had like 15 people there.
So Holland and Diaz were going to team up against the Russians.
That's what it ended up turning into.
Yeah.
But then, of course, Diaz is because
that's why they canceled it, huh?
Yeah, and well, because they didn't have enough cops to control the 900 people that the camps had brought. Most camp, they said the average, even like Dana White comes out, he said most people bring 5 or 6 guys. A big one might be like that Hazmat travels with like 12 to 15 always. Well, Diaz knew that. That's why he brought the 50-man army. And he said, that's what they were talking about. There's like pot smoke everywhere. That's the funny shit.
I heard something about Diaz today about because this was his last fight on his contract, and Dana and them were trying to get him to re-sign and for more money and stuff, and he was asking for everything. And Diaz says, "You know what? I'll keep my same deal." He goes, "But I want you to sign everybody on my team." I'll keep my deal,
cool,
but you
he has
sign
a bunch
every
of guys that shouldn't fight
yeah
too.
But he said and Dana was like, "No, okay, I'll put him on Ultimate Contender. What's that? Dana White looking for a fight, whatever thing." And Nate said, "No, I want all of them have UFC deals."
Which is why he's wants to do his own promotion to put his boys over.
But that's that
that's
just shows you the
gangster,
kind
but that's like LeBron saying, "I'm not going to sign with your team if you don't let my high school homies fucking ball with you."
Yeah, but it just kind of shows you the dude that Nate Diaz is.
That's
he's
cool.
He's a good dude.
Yeah, he's putting dudes over, but just do it like all the other pros do and just pay for them like they do.
Yeah, just
have them do
you
your
make the
errand
money and
boys
just give him your money.
Do it that
Be
way.
like what's Post Malone's buddy that is a bitch boy to go get beer every time. He's like, "Get me a beer," and he's got to do it. I think he gets paid like $1,000 a day.
But so this fight goes to go off. Those two even, obviously, but they kind of break them up in the fight. And like that Hazmat comes over at the beginning of it. And like, it's kind of like they almost clear the air because they had like 15 red coats in the ring, the security guys.
To keep them
and
apart.
there's usually 2, one at each side. And they had them all in there. Well, they led him over to him. They talk and they kind of like do a little talking thing. And then they split up. Well, so they go ding. They go to shake like, Holland goes to like where they touch gloves.
Yeah.
Game over. Fucking Hazmat just fucking shot on him when he fucking went to touch gloves.
I'd heard about that, but I didn't know
that was the end. And that was the end of it. Holland fought him back, and then put him in a type of Doris choke and fucking tapped him, man. But it was like Holland. I don't know how you. It's like going up to.
They need to just stop that.
Yeah,
It needs to be like the coin toss in the NFL. Like, are we agreeing to tap?
Yeah,
like why they?
But I think that's what they went over and did. I think he went over because Holland went over and circled and said something like, "Are we going to touch?" And then that dude came back over. That was his fucking plan. Granted, whether it's not against the rules or not, it's dog shit. That dude is supposed to be a boss. He's one of the top fighters, number 3 fighter in the division. One,
He's
he can't make
undefeated,
weight.
right?
Yeah, can't make weight. But 2, I heard, of course, Dana's not going to do it because Dana loves those guys because he can't lose. But I think it should make him fight at 185. This is the 3rd fight. He either hasn't made weight or they've had to, like, medical cut weight for
Whatever.
him.
I thought they were doing away with that, where you couldn't fight outside of 10 pounds within your weight. You're not like they were supposed to be doing periodic checks where Dana was like, okay, so if you fight at 170, you can't weigh more than 185 like a month before the fight.
Supposedly
and then
he didn't. And like supposedly he was 179 like 10 days before the fight.
but he showed up at 186.
Or at 178. He was supposed to fight at 170.
Yeah. So
And he showed up at 178 and a half.
I can do that. I can gain weight like that. But.
Well, and I get but supposedly he was there. But it kind of proves, and even like, and I'm not a Connor guy, but Connor comes out and says, dude shouldn't have even got to fight.
Yeah.
Most guys, most guys get.
If he wasn't undefeated,
Costa didn't get to fight and got fucking blown up for like a month by. It just finally got his first fight since he didn't make weight this last in the undercard, and he's a top fighter.
Yeah.
So I that blows my mind, but it just depends who you are. It's Dana's game, so you play it or not. Now we go to, and let's be honest, if Diaz fought Hazmat, I would have been, and I ended up rooting for Diaz in this fight. He would have got killed. If it went to the ground, that's where. And although he did end up winning this one on a ground fight against a guy that couldn't fight me on the ground, Tony Ferguson, time to retire. Obviously, this was Nate Diaz's. I don't think it'll be his last UFC fight.
I doubt
So
it.
the last one on his contract.
they're going to give him the fight that he wants. They're probably going to give him a title fight.
They're going to do him and McGregor.
That would be so much money.
They're talking about him and McGregor 3, and Masvidal.
Oh yeah.
So that would be his first one. Go for the bad motherfucker title that he didn't get. That he should have beat that dude if he's really. And then the problem with a fight against Masvidal is, and a true slugger, even a Conor.
He's a lot bigger though.
No, but the one thing that happened to Ferguson, well, and also we'll get to that.
I think they're going to have Colby fight that.
About
whatever
partway
you
through
guys
the
talk
fight,
about.
I started hating, realized why I don't like Nate Diaz, because he was getting shin kicked the shit out of him, and he quit partially. I mean, basically like said I'm done and walked away, and he was leaning against the thing. Then he started playing around, but he was like could barely walk. I mean, Ferguson was kicking his leg out from under him, and then Ferguson abandoned it. Diaz was out striking him by far.
Always.
But when it came, I don't know about always, but it was his don't look that hard, but they just keep catching you. Early in the fight, Ferguson went shin to shin and blew his shin up, and then he got cut over the eye. The one thing about in the last probably 5 Diaz fights, he gets broke open because all that scar tissue.
Yeah.
That's when he starts struggling because he can't see, and he's constantly wiping out his blood.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen in this fight. He stayed up. Ferguson finally kind of shot on him because something happened at the end of the last round, and they said if you get a chance, shoot on him again or something, and they did. Got
And
caught
that's
in a
when he got him.
fucking triangle or a front side, whatever, a guillotine, and choked him out. And it was a true Nate fashion. He did it one-handed, and as they're tapping, he
Like
does
flexing.
the Nate flex.
Yeah.
And then
Well-
that was awesome, too. And also, probably because he won and because Ferguson did do it cool, they were hugging all over
Yeah,
each other.
I
I've
saw
never
that.
seen, and then, raising each other's hands and loving on each other. That was pretty weird, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where they go with these guys.
So what it sounds like, he wants to go get at least 1 or 2 big paydays. What I hate for him is, this was after this press conference and leading up to this fight was probably the most clear-headed I've seen him, where he's talking not like a punching bag.
Yeah.
For the last couple of years, he's stuttered around a lot.
Yeah.
He seemed real clear-headed. He's talking about going in boxing. Well, you look at all the
like to box Jake Paul or something like that.
or something like. I mean, that's what it sounds like he's going to do.
You want to talk about that?
That's what I was going to say. That's what naturally leads us to probably the only fight he's done so far that gets me excited.
We're definitely watching that. We need to have Isaac hook us up with that stream.
I'm torn on whether this still solidifies him as a boxer. It solidifies him as a fighter, yes, but he's fighting a not a boxer. So that's where it's hard to say. And a 45-year-old.
He's fighting a guy who's knocked out a lot of dudes boxing, though.
You're right. Well, he's knocked out 2 dudes boxing
He's
so
not
far.
my favorite. I mean, he's
But
knocked out a lot of dudes with his fist.
In a different sport with littler gloves.
Sport,
But no. And who, in his, I think, technically 3 boxing matches, 1 decision and 2 stoppages, of course, knocked out poor fucking Tito bad. And then beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. The fight we're talking about, Jake Paul Anderson Silva. Going to be a good fight. Like I said, that would be a pay-per-view I might even pay for. So that
Might even pay for that for real.
He does. Jake Paul. So we talked about it on our first show or second show. I became a Logan Paul fan.
Yeah.
Still kind of am. Fading away. He's done a couple things lately that
He just hasn't. He hasn't been on UFC or WWE. So
and some of his stuff that he's put out there. Anyways, but Jake Paul, posts a thing, and it starts out with Dana White at a press conference saying, "Well, if he wants to fight somebody real, why don't we fight Anderson Silva? Anderson Silva's out there prize fighting now, and it's this whole 2-minute thing from Dana White." And I was gonna have it ready to play. I don't. And then he comes to him and goes, "Hey, guess what? I'm fighting him." And then he goes on the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then he goes to about 5 other clips of people saying, this, and then it cuts to Dana White finding out that he's fighting him. And he goes, okay, well, he's doing it. If he fights him and he knocks him out, but it's like Dana White just found it. He goes, oh, what? He is fighting him? And it's pretty good. Jake Paul's a good
It's kind of like that deal with
genius.
Trump when they're like about what's her name dying, the Ruth Gator, whatever, and he's like, she did? I didn't know that.
Oh.
Have you seen that deal where they dub over there? And it's like, are you shitting my dick? And they play that over that. So it says right here, Anderson's first boxing match was actually in '98.
Yeah, before
and he lost,
and he did it before he did UFC. So
yeah. So now that we got all the sports stuff out of the way, last week we asked our listeners to write in.
Well, real quick, hold on.
What do you
We're getting
got?
All the stuff. We got to get to our pick 3 real quick.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So
sorry.
our results from last week, we picked the Dallas Tampa Bay game, the Cleveland Carolina game, and the New England Miami game. We both ended up with 1 point.
They all end up were very close games.
They were all good games, honestly. Well, except for the Dallas Tampa Bay one. TJ got a point for Tampa Bay beating Dallas. We both picked Carolina beating Cleveland, and Cleveland indeed beat Carolina in the Baker redemption game.
Yeah, that
he did
worked
at
out
least
so
come.
good.
It looked real bad early. He at least came back and made it look decent. And then New England, Miami, I pretty much dominated them. It was the beginning of the offensive coordinatorless era in New England, and it looked like it. It looked like it looked worse than the Cam Newton offense. And I don't know if that's a Mac Jones, bash, or if that's truly not having an offensive coordinator, what that does to you. As a Cowboys fan, I can tell you not having an offensive coordinator does quite a bit. Kellen Moore here's looking at you.
Where's Jason Garrett at right now? He's
calling games. I felt bad for the poor guy. So he's in the booth for the Sunday night games. Not in the booth, like before the pregame. So they go to all of the calling and they pick all the games. And there's 7 people that picked. Everybody picked Tampa Bay except for Jason Garrett. And he goes, I can't pick against the Cowboys. I love the Cowboys. And it's like, God damn it, I love him.
Yeah.
It made me realize, like, I wish he would have stayed on as something, but just not our coach.
Just bring him back as like offense coordinator or something
Or
like that.
no, I didn't even want that. Maybe like quarterbacks
You
coach.
still got what's his name, right? From Boise State.
Yeah, Kellen Moore. Yeah, he could have left. I'd have been fine with that. His offense was fun when it was new, but now it's not any fun. So this week, real quick, we'll just get to them, and then we'll go to the women questions
Relationship
from the ladies.
questions from our ladies.
We got pick 3 for this week. The first game is going to be Seattle 49ers. 2 teams that 49ers were supposed to be good, lost, and one Seattle's supposed to
Where's
be bad.
that?
It is at 49ers.
Niners.
Okay, TJ Niners. KC is going with Seattle. I'm on the bandwagon. Green
Those
Bay.
uniforms last night, tight.
Yeah, they're bright. They've won
They are
one other
bright.
game. They're real
I could
bright.
wear those at work and not have to wear a
You would
safety
be good.
vest.
There you
Yep.
go. So you're a Seahawks fan now. We need a new team.
Yeah.
Green Bay Bears. Bears won. We're not supposed to be good.
We're at.
It is at Green Bay. No, hold on. Hold on. I might be lying.
I saw the video of them squeegeeing the field before, and then I saw Justin Fields sliding down.
It is at Green Bay.
I'll take the Packers.
I am going to go just to be anti. I'm going the Bears. And the last game of the week, and just we'll stay on the trend, I think they'll be the team we follow on, is hopefully he came out and said right before this game, this will be his last year. Bucks versus
Are we really not picking a Cowboys game?
nope, we're not.
Okay.
We're not.
I'll take the Bucks whoever they're playing.
Okay, they're playing the Saints in the Jameson Winston era, and I'm taking the Saints.
Did you see that interview of him where he's like, I'm hurt, and they're like, what's hurt? I'm hurt everywhere. Everything hurts. But everywhere hurts. He's a weird dude.
He's on a redemption tour because he was, as a freshman, raping girl or getting accused of being a rapist at FSU.
No, that was stealing.
No, but he also got up on the girl and said, "Grab my dick," and then showed his nuts off to the girl in the lunchroom. That was a huge story.
Oh, yeah.
That came out right at the draft.
But
dude.
didn't he steal some fish or something like
I
that?
don't know. Well, he's allowed to do that. Carp
Yeah.
probably, but that's fine. So there's our pick 3.
Definitely
Lock
Carp.
it in. Seal
Hold on. Even though I said earlier, we're getting a Jayhawk W this weekend, just so everybody knows.
Well, but
Rock Chalk.
we can't change the past.
I know. I'm just saying I
Okay.
picked it, but I'm just predicting.
And
Rock Chalk
I'm
Jayhawk.
staying with the loss, but if they win this one, I may go back and look at some of my other predictions.
Yep.
All
Sounds good.
And
Okay.
I'm staying with the Michigan win this weekend.
I would hope so. I don't know if I'm going to take them with the spread or not. So last week we asked any of our lady listeners to send any relationship advice into our email,
And
and
surprisingly, we were flooded with email.
Yeah, we did.
picked
So,
one this week.
but yeah, so we're just gonna read just the one that
And
that I
wouldn't-
chose.
TJ wouldn't read it to me before the
Yeah,
show.
so
He wants it to come in fresh.
So just again, if any of our lady listeners would like to send in more of their questions, send it into Monday morning middle of the road at gmail.com, or hit us up on TikTok or Facebook. You can get Casey's
Twitter,
which
and
is
it's coach. It's actually, and I lied last. It's coach.
Yeah, whatever you said
it's
it is,
at
isn't it?
Casey Gun 13,
Yep.
and it's KCGUN13. My handle is Coach Mac, or
Yeah,
it was.
I think, aren't you two N's?
No, it's one. It's one. Well, I'll pull it up here real
Okay.
quick. Well, you go. I'll
Okay.
pull it up here. Come on. See, the internet out here is strong. Yep. At KCGUN13.
Okay, at Twitter.
Follow me. I'm up to 651 followers on there.
Dang.
Dang.
So our question today comes from Stephanie. It said, "Hey guys, I just wanted to write into the show and let you know that TJ is much more handsome than Casey, and I enjoy
far
him.
sounds-
I enjoy him way more than
So
Casey."
far, it makes sense. She seems like a very smart listener.
Yep. And she didn't provide a picture, so I couldn't tell you what celebrity she most resembles.
We would say she's not attractive if she's into you, definitely. but go
No,
ahead.
I mean I have a very
I mean,
very
she's
good looking
beautiful.
wife. So
But inside and out, it doesn't matter to me.
Yep. So
I'd rather be inside than out, honestly.
So here's Stephanie's question. Before I got married to my husband, I agreed to have a threesome with him as part of the stipulations of us getting married. But now that we're married, he's asking for it, and I'm not sure what to do. What do you think I should do, guys? Or how should I approach this with him?
The man in me.
This would be a girl guy.
The man in me wants to say you made a contractual obligation to death do you part, all that. The realist in me says probably not. I guess it depends where you guys are at in your relationship. If something like this or before has ever happened, or you guys are somewhat okay,
I think I can't tell from this, but I would assume that that's never happened
it
before.
changes the dynamic. Would be my best guess.
Yeah, I would think.
I was not myself before. I was involved in one or two of these, and starting the next day, I didn't talk to two of the girls ever again.
Yeah.
I didn't meet them before that night either, and I think they both had my babies in a different story.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking. I almost had one with my, we'll call her current wife to keep names unnamed.
Yeah.
Early on, and it was a drunk, like one of those things where you promise to do it and we're all
Yeah.
drunk and it happened. And I'm pretty glad it didn't, because
I would think that would be definitely something you probably wouldn't want to do with your wife.
yeah, I don't think so. Like if she gave me a pass and like it was two of her friends, no.
If she wasn't there,
Nah, like I think that's, but there's people that are into that. So you talk to some people and that's what keeps their romance alive is the
Yeah.
once a year we do something out. To me, I think that one creates either, if ever even like there's any kind of cheating suspicion or element, you always think that's going on because you now know that person is comfortable
capable.
with it.
Yeah.
Or two, I don't know. I as much as I want to be like, yeah, goddamn it, I'm a guy that gets somewhat
Bro.
bored and is married and like blah blah. I just don't think there's not a win for it.
So your advice to Stephanie is
Hold your ground unless this starts causing problems in the marriage. Just I think put it to the point where I love you, I only love you. Maybe make him another agreement where instead maybe can I agree to blowjobs for a month, or maybe a stipulation of maybe like if you did, it would have to be like a really high end like bunny ranch situation,
like a prostitute.
but like a good one where she's clean. It's probably going to be expensive. It's
Yeah.
gonna, and then because the other thing that does on him, if he's anything like me, because me and my wife made that agreement and I kept pushing and she finally said I'm in, but it can't be anybody it can't be anybody I know, and I'd really rather it not be. He said we just go pick up at a bar, but because I think that could leave a chance that you somehow get a number or
Yeah.
you kindle a relationship.
There's no way you can contact.
So I
this
agree
person.
to this if if we go to Vegas, you take me on a nice vacation, we go together to a bunny ranch or establishment with a clean girl, and we pick a girl out together that I know, one, has no interest, would never have any interest in you ever again, and two, would at least maybe make this experience worth it, because that's your other fear you run into. Me, it would be lasting with two girls, but two, it not even being fun, and then causing a chink
rift
in your relationship, you know?
Yep.
A kink, you know? So there's my advice is probably don't. If you do, put it on him, because, again, the chances are he's going to go, one, I don't want, if he does, we're going to go to Vegas, we're going to lose enough money that he's going to go another $2,000 or $4,000.
Yeah.
That it's going to cost me to have sex with another girl when I could probably just get drunk, have sex with you, and like finger myself in the butt and pretend
Yeah.
it's another girl or, you know, something. So don't.
Well, that's our advice to you, Stephanie. Everybody else, we'll get to the rest of these questions
That might have
next
been
week.
a little aggressive. But,
And I mean, I would say,
but that's where I would say is don't. But if you do, make it to where it has to be safe.
Yep, that's pretty good advice. So we appreciate your questions, Stephanie. We'll get to the rest of them. We have a few more for next week. So,
And we appreciate it. Late show this week. We'll be back. I don't know. Probably, hopefully Monday next week.
yep.
Right after work would be the plan or something. We may try to do something where I'll get the Monday night going out here. We can't exactly talk about it because of our sponsors. This week it wasn't an NFL related. It was Hertz Car. Oh, that is NFL sponsors. So that would have been trouble.
Do we get Tom too with that?
No, I don't think so. And they actually said,
We're not even supposed to.
I just
mention his
rented a
name.
car from them.
Oh, okay.
So, and then I said, hey, will you sponsor my show? And they said, whatever that means. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, but I had to pay them for it. So I think I got a discount, a sponsor discount. They gave me free insurance on it or something.
Nice.
So listen to us, find us. I'm going to go out on avid listener. Oh, that's unplugged. No, we're
Nope.
not.
That
That's
once
bad.
again.
We'll edit that out.
Yep.
I unplugged it because it froze the computer last time.
Oh,
It'll
okay.
probably freeze it this time. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.